Welcome, everyone. Appreciate you coming out here. It's a very exciting day for us for a lot of different reasons. I don't know if Scott has explained the procedure to you, but we're going to kind of work in the same rotation that we did throughout the whole football season as far as asking questions. And we ask that when it is your time to get up and ask a question, you go to one of the two standing microphones in the middle of the room, and Todd will prompt you as to who's next to go ask a question. We won't be able to do anything after the press conference, but we are willing to hang in there and answer as many as we possibly can. So appreciate that. And with that, I'd ask Mr. Jones to lead us off.
Okay, great. And before I get started, it's great to see you and great to be here with you. We saved this homecoming for each other for a very special day, but it is good to be back with you, and hopefully this is something that will evolve, and we'll be having many more days that we can get back to business as usual. But be that as it may, I don't know that I've had the privilege to, in any way, much less an occasion like today, that have had the gentleman's story that we have with our quarterback. And it has so many aspects to it that go really far before he got to the Dallas Cowboys. And to me, when I think of our game and I think of the Cowboys, I think of the NFL. When I think of the journey that Dak has had to be at this particular spot here today, it's just great that our team and our organization and our fan base can get to be very part of it. What I will tell you is that among your ranks, among some of the great names of the Dallas Cowboys, the Staubachs, the Romos, the Aikmans, as a matter of fact, all but one of our great quarterbacks, except Andy Don, and he wasn't here to weigh in on it, from our fan base, and probably the most important thing, from the organization and the people that Dak has been with over his career with the Dallas Cowboys. There has been no one that I've had the occasion to be a part of, from a player, coach, or otherwise, that enjoys the support about all of the right things that you and I want to aspire to be than Dak Prescott. It was amazing. Absolutely amazing. You know that from the very beginning, we have certainly said that our future is with Dak. We are keenly aware that the process that we've done over the last several years has created, if you will, a conversation and maybe even a life of its own. Don't confuse that. Do not confuse that and the fact that how much I may have, we may have contributed to that. Don't confuse that with how right we think this decision is and how right and how much it's been there from the very beginning. This fits. This fits what I and what I want our Cowboy fans to think about when we think about the Dallas Cowboys. Now, we all know a ball is snapped, and when it does, it can go any which way. And we do know we've got a lot of competition ahead of us. But if you're going to start with the fundamentals and you're going to look ahead, then I can tell you that the people that count, from the fan base to teammates to what is inside him and soul, the people that count are all worthy of us sitting here today making this announcement. So with no further ado, probably from the standpoint of him, one of the real easy decisions that I've had to make in my time with the Dallas Cowboys was to have Dak Prescott as a future regarding the quarterback position of the Dallas Cowboys. So with no further ado, here's Dak Prescott.
Afternoon. Overwhelmed with so many different emotions right now, from love, from support, from the faith that has just been instilled in me by an amazing organization, from the support that Mr. Jones talked about that so many people came in on my behalf and spoke of. Eagerness, excitement, anxiousness to give this organization and the Jones family everything that they invested in, and that's a Super Bowl, and that's to go win. And anybody that knows me, anybody that knows the way I approach life, is to control the things that I control, manifest my beliefs, have faith in that, and go out there and wait for the results to happen. And this deal was no different. As Mr. Jones says, this is the right fit. I grew up a Dallas Cowboy fan. Never in a million years did I imagine not being a Cowboy once I put on this uniform and put on this star. So through it all, through the 2 years, I guess you can say, or more, there was never a slight doubt in my mind that I wouldn't wear the star for the rest of my life. And as Charlotte told me a couple of days ago, is that when you sign that line, you're a Cowboy forever and you can't get out. And I'm excited for that. I'm excited to be here and to never leave. And I'm excited for what this organization, what this team, what the fans are going to get. And I'm excited just to go do it, and just to know that this is my home. I'm not leaving. I'm a Cowboy, and this is only the beginning. Is just so much excitement for everybody that is involved and invested.
Outstanding. Questions?
Yeah, Jerry, you alluded to it in your opening statement, but I believe this is the most prolonged negotiation you've had with a player since you've owned the team. Can you get into the complex and difficult factors that entered into why this went on longer than so many other negotiations you've had?
Well, it went that way because it could. There was never a doubt in my mind when someone say, well, do you have, are you worried that Dak doesn't have his mind on his business and is thinking about his future and the contract? Well, Dak's his own worst enemy there, because Dak is going to think about making the play or doing the right thing at the time. So Dak's ability to basically zone in and focus and take it to the field, I knew that we weren't dealing with something fragile, number one. And so he couldn't hide that, or didn't try to hide, but he couldn't hide that at all. I think that it's a mistake to basically, at least it's a mistake in my experience with the Cowboys. When I bought the Cowboys, apart from a lot of other things that were being said, it was very commonly said of how idiot I was for paying what I paid for the Cowboys. And that's not an exaggeration. That's firmly there. Well, I really got screwed. I ended up with the Dallas Cowboys. The truth is, most anything that I've ever been involved in that ended up being special, I overpaid for. Every time, to the end. Anytime I've tried to get a bargain, I got just that. It was a bargain in a lot of ways, and not up to standard. And so the other thing that that our process of getting here from where we were, from Dak's rookie deal, I knew that Dak wanted to be here and really no place else. I knew that. And I think Dak knew that how good he fit here, although I can understand his apprehension. This was not a test of some sort of can Dak handle it or something like that. That wasn't the case at all. We've had some things that we needed to evaluate over the last 3 or 4 years. About the time that I thought I had it all figured out, not our deal with Dak, but about the time I thought I had a lot of things figured out, along came COVID. And all of a sudden, I have been in the National Football League when it couldn't pay its bills. That's how I got here. And it couldn't pay its bills, and that's not an exaggeration. And so you've got to look at the lay of the land as it evolves. And anybody that beginning last year didn't look at the overall lay of the land. So I'm going to blame a little of that ambiguity that happened with the COVID business and what have you on any measure that I might have had about, well, is this, how do we go? And really, how do we structure and how do we plan on going forward? I'm pleased to say that I read someplace where, well, Jerry's got a good feel for where they're going to be on their contracts, and so that's the biggest sign you got. He just signed Dak to a record contract. Well, so be it. Yes, exactly. I do feel good about our future. I feel great about our future. I don't mind telling you the main reason I feel great is the guy sitting right next door to me, right here with it. So all of those things came about, and we just had luxury. I don't know if that's the case, but we had the ability. I agree with you that there you could say, well, boy, you sure left Dak hanging out there real good. Obviously, he has the temperament for that, and I'm glad. I will tell you this, if there's a human breathing that I've ever met that I'm proud that took advantage of me financially, I'm proud it's the one sitting to the right.
And Dak, following up on that, this has been an unusually tumultuous time for young quarterbacks around the league. You hear more than you ever have about them moving on to different situations. Individually, how much does it mean to you to be able to know you're here for several years now? And do you think that really helps your career, that sort of stability with one organization?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think anybody in the NFL, being a Dallas Cowboy, that's going to help your career, to answer that one, and then to move forward. And through this whole time, as I said, I never had any doubt in my mind that I wouldn't be here. I'm a guy that lives and stands and moves every part of his body off the word faith. And then that comes from, excuse me, and remiss myself for not thanking all the millions of people, thousands of people who have helped me get here, from truly instilling their faith and believing in me, from my late mother, my late brother, my other brother Tad, my father, all my friends, my girlfriend, my team, D4K. I couldn't be more thankful for their support, because what I do is I control the things that I control, as I said. So I have a great agent that I trust, Todd France, and obviously he did a great job. So I've trusted him, but through it all, I just focused on what I could focus on and controlled what I could control, and figured that if I did that, was the best individual that I could be in every aspect, I'll manifest what is out there for me. As I said, I'm a man that stands by faith and lives by that. So a lot of people will say, hey, you gambled and you did this and you did that when you could have taken that. But in this world, you get in everything that you get everything out of what you put into it. And I just know from a little boy falling in love with this game to where I am now, and this love has grown further, I've put a lot into it, and I've got a lot more to give. So with that being said, never had any doubt that I wouldn't be here, that this deal wouldn't get done and be right for the both of us, and be right, as I said, for the organization and everybody invested. So I'm just thankful.
Hey, Dak, congratulations on the deal. We haven't talked to you since the injury. So
Yeah.
Everybody saw you walk over here with two shoes on. Give us a health update.
I thought about jogging out here and jumping up on the stage, but I don't know if y'all are ready for that. But I'm healthy. Obviously, yeah, I haven't talked to you guys. Thank you for the support. Thank Cowboys Nation. Everyone out there that was praying for me, sent me their condolences. That's a feeling that I'll never be able to put in words, to be in that hospital bed, not knowing really what's going to happen, sitting there just coming out of surgery, but getting all the support, as I said, from family, from coaches, from former coaches, from teammates, and the Cowboys Nation, and even a lot of you. I'm just so thankful for that. But I'm healthy. As I said, I control what I can control. I followed the doctor's orders the whole time, put in my own work ethic to it. And as you said, you saw me walking out here. I've been on that field back there. I'm healthy. I'm getting close, but I'll be ready when it matters.
When will you be 100%?
So when I first got hurt, the one thing that I said I wasn't going to do is put a time point on it, because of so many different variables and things that can come up. And so, as I say, I'm ready and I'm getting close. I feel good. You saw me walk out here. I can do a lot of things that I obviously couldn't do weeks ago and even days ago that I'm doing today. So it's hard to say that I'll be ready in this time or that time, but I'll be ready when it matters, and I'll be more than healthy and better than I was before.
You talked about faith, just my follow-up. You talked about faith and you gamble, and certainly you gambled on yourself last year. And on that field, when you got hurt, did it ever slip your mind or come into your mind in the hospital that you may have lost just because of most people out here, they saw the gruesome injury.
Yeah.
It's all that, oh, everybody was concerned about your health, but also concerned about he may have blown his payday. He may have blown his opportunity because we don't know what's going on with the injury. Did you ever, in your mind, let yourself go that I may have lost this gamble?
No, as I said, I did. To me, it wasn't a gamble. So even there, sitting there with holding my leg or whatever on the field, trying to put it back into place, or later on being in the hospital and waking up from surgery, that's just what God's thrown at me. And if you've known my life, if you've known my story, whatever circumstance that is, I'm going to take it with a smile and be thankful that God has put me in this position to overcome it, to be an example to others. So never in a million years, and I have to thank, honestly, Alex Smith. Because at that moment when you're sitting there and you have an injury like that, or you come out of surgery, to see somebody who's already done it and did it actually in worse circumstances, that allowed my mind just to go to straight, hey, I can do this. I'm going to beat this. It's just a matter of time, when the doctor's saying, but I'm going to beat this. So I have to thank Alex for somebody who's overcome that and won Comeback Player of the Year, and congrats to him. But as I said, if you know my story, you know where I'm from, the support I've had and the belief that people instill in me. No, as cliche as it is, and I'll say it again, I mean, I'm insulted when people say I gambled, because you get out what you put into something, and as I said, I've given so much, and I'm going to continue to give, and that's how you reap the reward, so appreciate it.
Dak, congratulations. Tad posted that picture Monday of y'all embracing. Can you take us through the emotions of Monday and what it meant to spend that moment with your family after y'all had been through so much and lost so much?
Yeah, that was a very special moment. I was actually looking at that picture today and just thinking that I don't know if the world knows what that moment was truly about. That moment was truly about my mom and my brother. As we're sitting there, as he can tell you, overcome with emotions, excitement, and I felt my mom and my brother as much as I do now, right there in that moment. And as I told Tad, hey, they're here. This is for all of us. Give me a hug, and we jumped up, we hugged, and that's just everything that we've been through. And there's not many people in this world that know where I started and to where I am now, but to also know my belief and where I think and where I know I'm going to go. And that's Tad. That's my dad as well. And just as he said then, man, your life is flashing before my eyes. I see you as a little boy chasing us around, wanting to be like us, and to know now that millions of kids want to be like you. That was just a special moment, very emotional. As I said, a lot of hard work coming together, but just knowing that it's also the start and the beginning to even greater things.
For sure. And you've mentioned you never doubted this would get done eventually, but at what point, Sunday, Monday, or whenever in the last week, did you realize it was getting done now?
Oh, I don't know. You might have to ask Todd on that. I think Todd got a call a couple of weeks ago, or probably a week ago, right, when you say? And I knew things were getting close. I guess that's my Native American in me or something, but I was feeling it. And Todd called me to give me an update of just how things are going and how close. And him and Steve are talking on the same page. And I said, you know what? I was in the training room this morning working on my leg, and I'm going to be there again tomorrow. So I'm not really worried about that. I don't want to get too excited. When God's timing is for me, it'll be for me. And then Monday, as I said, I don't know if it's my feelings or not. I texted him. I said, hey, just shoot me a text. Give me an update. And sure enough, he calls me and has to tell me the update. But at that point, I kind of felt it was really good. As I said, I've had belief in the Cowboys, and Todd, Steve, and Jerry, both of getting something done. And I felt it. And sure enough, a couple hours later, Todd called me, and I was pretty much done. At that point, it's behind me. It's behind me. And if anything, that's what it's more about, is free headspace, get that behind me. I don't have to dodge y'all's questions or, hide from y'all on that point, and I can just move forward and worry about winning a Super Bowl.
Thanks, Dak.
Hey, Dak, I'm just wondering, you know what comes with the pressure of this position and this franchise playing the quarterback. What does the contract add now to the pressure of being Cowboys quarterback? Does it change anything for you?
No, not for me. Pressure is privilege, and I'm privileged to have it. I'm privileged that this organization, they believe in me. They put their faith in me. But if I said, if you know me, you know who I am. I walk every day with the faith and what I believe in, and my expectations are so high. I believe my expectations for myself are higher than anybody's out there. But all this contract does is raise those expectations for everyone else. And I think when higher expectations creates higher results. So I'm all for it. I'm excited. As I said, it's a privilege to have this pressure, if y'all want to call it. But I'm just excited to go out there and do what I can. And as I said, I'm getting back healthy. That's the most exciting thing about it all.
And can you tell us the reaction you received from your teammates when this thing was finally done? Was it, what took so long, or like, all right, let's go to work?
Yeah, just excitement. That's probably was one of the best things, is coming in the next day and just watching all my teammates come in with their different reactions. And it's been great. I mean, as you're in that training room, a lot of injured guys this past year, right? So you're coming in there, you're busting it each and every day, and those guys know what I put into it. I know they know what they put into it. I say for this to be done, it's just reassuring to everybody of where this organization is going to go, and just that we have the pieces here, and we've just got to refine them and go be better.
Dak, you talked about mental health and how it was big for you. You've had a lot going on, health, you had a tragedy. How did you deal with everything away from the field?
Yeah, I mean, it was tough, but when you have an amazing support system, as I said, as I do, that allows everything to become easier. You have people to lean on, you have people to talk to, you have people to count on, and that's what, if you're dealing with mental health or you have something that is a struggle, that's what you have to do. You have to be vulnerable, you have to talk, and I just have an amazing support system that I'm able to do that with, whatever it is. And for that, I wouldn't say I was ever any down or ever in a position. I mean, obviously, when you're watching a football game and you have to elevate your leg, that's tough because that's what you love to do most, that's your passion, and there's nothing you can do about it. But I think that calluses your mind as well, and that just motivates you, inspires even more, that when you get that opportunity, when you get back out there, not to take anything for granted. So, yeah, just thankful for my supporting cast that I never got there.
This is for Jerry. If you can expound a little bit more on the potential TV contract and how that might have influenced you to get this done with Dak.
Well, I would answer you this way. It's one thing to dwell on taking it out in the form of, let's say, picture a bank account and taking the dollar out. Okay? The most important, not the one, but the exercise that counts the most is putting it in. Anybody can almost take it out. Yep. So you better have your mind and you better have thought of as many things as you possibly can on taking it out. Now think about that just a minute. That has to do with timing. That has to do with anticipation of, in our particular case, a lot of players, contracts, but it has to do with a lot of evaluating when and how the dollars to do it are going to come in. And so one of my jobs is to basically figure out how to make sure it's there when it goes out. That seems simplistic, but that's a big part of it. And so to take this as it should be today and a recognition of what Dak Prescott means to this organization, the highest recognition in terms of financial that's ever been in this organization. Somebody wrote the other day, it was more than I paid for the team to do it. But that was then, this is now. That was then, this is now. Well, getting that pot right in your mind, that's then, this is now. You got to kind of do that in this business 4 and 5 years out. So all of that comes into the equation. We did not have it, in my mind, reconciled. At least I didn't have it. We didn't have it as an organization in our mind, just how we were going to make this work. There was never a question that it was going to be Dak. And there was never a question that for that person or that quality of individual for what we are doing, that he was the guy. Never a question. But how to look and measure, and then all of a sudden you may think you're about there, and then all of a sudden something comes up and there's no fans out there. All of a sudden something comes up and it's a different set of economics. Not that it should be something that necessarily Dak is worried, but it sure impacts Dak and every other player that plays in this league, every other coach, every other owner. So I'm answering it by saying this, that my job as a part Stephen sits here and candidly has as good a feel because we've been doing this 30 years. Charlotte, Jerry, we've got as good a feel for trying to read the tea leaves about where the future is. Guess what? What really counts is what we're here announcing today. And if you don't think that that isn't an indication of where we think the tea leaves are and where the future is, you've misread this today. That's where it is. And that took some time, and that took a lot of thought, and we used the time frames we had to work in and thought, well, we'll have a little better feel when this happens, this happens. All of that is the process. We're lucky because the ultimate decision on this thing is made by a group of people that probably have as good a feel from the time somebody turns a light on in the stadium to the time they turn it off on one end of this country as the other. We got as good a feel as anybody how to do this thing financially. Do we make all right decisions? Of course not. But we got a hell of a feel for what to look at. Been spending a lot of time doing it, 30-something years. Made a lot of trades, made a lot of decisions. Some of them worked better than others, but made a lot of decisions doing this, and that was all taken into consideration to get here. It's not as simple as Dak wins, Jerry wins, Cowboys win. Let me tell you one thing. The Cowboys won today. Sure. They won today. And I'm excited about this future, and that's what we're all interested in is the future.
Dak, you've been highly active off the field on such topics as social justice, mental health. What does this contract allow you to do in terms of furthering those community efforts, be it in North Texas or outside it?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've said it since day one of being here. I mean, what the Cowboys platform does and allows me to do is be able to reach so many with my story. As I said earlier, whatever circumstance I get, I'm thankful for because it allows me to be able to overcome it and inspire so many more people. And then Jerry could tell you what he paid me versus for what he bought this team for. That shows you what this organization means, and not only of where they've been and where we are now, but where we're going. So it's amazing that I can be able to touch so many people's lives and inspire so many people's lives, not just necessarily in Dallas or back home in Louisiana or back in Mississippi where I went to school, but all across the country and all across the world because the Cowboys' visibility has that chance. And I'm thankful just to be at the forefront of it and to be able to inspire and show so many people that just adversity and failure is a speed bump, and that's never who you are, never defines you, but it's only just your route and your, I guess you can say, direction that you had to go in to get to where you want to be. And there's so many ways to get to where you want to be, and I just want to be an example of that.
And Dak, following the injury, you made the decision to be a regular at the facility. You rehabbed here, you continued your COVID testing, you were always here by and large. Why was that important for you to do? And then Stephen, how helpful was that to have such a strong feel for where he was in his rehab, being able to monitor it incrementally day by day?
Well, I'll speak to the latter question. It was immensely important, and of course we were not necessarily going through this year, COVID, et cetera. We were also struggling on the field, and to have Dak there every day, I know Coach McCarthy counted on him, talking to him to get the pulse of the team. Our leaders on our team were obviously having long visits with Dak, and just showed me and Jerry all the more how special he is and how many boxes he really does check. I mean, at the end of the day, he's our partner in this. And certainly, Jerry and I have to make tough decisions on how we divide up, if you will, the pie. And the right guy has the biggest piece, and he's got the most to gain from us winning. He certainly wants it, I think, worse than anyone in this building, maybe other than the 78-year-old man to my left, who reminds me every day he can't keep putting this off winning a championship. But, he's got everything to gain from this, and Dak does. And the only one probably gains more than him is our family. And certainly we want this for our fans. I know he wants it for his fans and our fans. But, having him here and showing that leadership, when he was struggling, he wanted to be out there worse than anybody. helping us work through our struggles on the field. But it's just such a great feeling to see him here healthy and ready to go to work, ready to get a championship for the Dallas Cowboys. And just a special guy, and it's great to be his partner.
Dak, lawyer, congratulations on your contract here. You spoke about faith. Even the most faithful man has doubts. What was it like for 2 years to hear the questions from us, to turn on a television and hear debate shows and people question, well, where you rank, what's your worth, is he this, is he that? How did you process that and deal with it?
Yeah, I controlled what I control. I didn't watch the TV if that was on. If one of y'all asked me, I've, over the last 2 years, told y'all no comment, respectfully. So I've intentionally moved those conversations out of my headspace because, as I said, that had nothing to do with my decision to become better and to get better each and every day, and all it was going to do was become a distraction. So as I said, I mean, my family knows and my friends know it. That was never anything that I allowed to be a conversation really in my head, and it's all, to me, it's just about focusing on getting better and winning, and I knew if I did that, controlled what I could, that I had faith that this would get done. And it's just unfortunate at times that your name can be thrown this, you can be painted to be this guy, when all you're worried about is what you can control and be the best you can. And so I was. So there was times that, yeah, you hear certain things that you're like, that's far-fetched from who I am or what I believe in or what I stand by, but I'm control what I control, and they'll see it at the end of who I am and what it's about. And just excited, as I said, to get this done and to move forward and to have that behind us and to go win.
And this one's for Jerry and Steven. You guys spoke at Oxnard last year talking about, the pie, and then you're trying to make sure everybody got pie, and there may not be enough pie left. What's left to fix a defense that has problems, that was second to the worst in the NFL and running against the run last year?
Yeah, there's left. We've got our plans, and I'll assure you there's left. That is all. That's a big part. You have to sometimes think, well, times are going to get better. Do I see a more promising economic future for the NFL? Maybe than others. Okay, I've seen that said. This tells you all you need to know about what you think about the future of the NFL. This says that loud and clear. Now, we're going to Oxnard. We're going to have training camp. We're going to do it safe. And we're going to have that stadium full. And we're going to do it safe. We had the most out there last year. We're going to do it safe. And if this contract manifests anything, it's our belief that this decision right here is about how we take the next step today and take on off tomorrow. And our best chance to get where we want to be, which is holding that trophy up, best chance to have those stands full of fans and everybody excited about the Dallas Cowboys. And the best I've got is manifest by signing Dak Prescott.
The only thing I would add to that, I do see Todd over here. I really enjoyed working with him these past 3 or 4 weeks. I think we got, a great relationship working and got a lot of great momentum going. And, he beat me to the punch, picking up the phone and calling me. And we were going to put all that in the rearview mirror, and we did. Who was going to call who next and that type of thing. But it was a great working relationship. And I'll say this, whenever it came to a negotiating point that was going to make our team better and help us with our team, he said, okay, you get that one. And so what was really important about this deal was the structure. And it does allow us, with the way we worked his cap situation over the next 4 years, was a huge positive for us. And they worked with us really well on that, and that is going to allow us to go out and do some things. Now, Dak's not the only one taking up a big piece of the pie. We've got running backs and offensive linemen and receivers who are also taking up their part as well. But we do believe we can manage through this and really improve our defense. Obviously, the heart and soul of any team is the draft. And I think we've got one of the best in the business in Will McClay and his scouting group. They're going to do a tremendous job, I think, of helping us find defensive players. Now, you got to be open-minded or you don't get CeeDee Lamb if he happens to be sitting there. But at the same time, I think through the draft is obviously a great way for us to improve our team when it comes to the cap. And then, as I said, I think we've got the resources to do under the cap what we need to do to put a defense out there with Dak in the offense to be a championship team.
Roger Staubach told me that years ago, I said, Roger, do we want a mobile quarterback? Guy you set the tone for, move around when it all breaks down, still get a play, make a play, keep it moving, keep the yard marker moving, or do we want a guy in the pocket? Roger said, I don't have a comment there, one way or the other. Get somebody at quarterback that the players will follow. That's the biggest thing of all. Get them that the players will follow. So I have had that in my mind for the last 5, 6 years. And that's been loud and clear, and not that Roger has all the answers, but he sure is a good one to talk to from time to time. And of course, he endorses this guy with his first and second, third breath when you're talking to him. So we, in my mind, have made a very significant decision here to build and put it together with the guy to my right. And it's not a dicey bet at all, but it's going to take everything we've all got because you can't have it all. And so we're going to have to get out there and use the inspiration that having him as quarterback caused some of us to play above our game. And so we're going to be going with some guys that didn't know they had it, but all of a sudden they found out they had it in the fourth quarter, that type of thing. All of that's good. We believe in that very much. You know, those nuances that we've heard about, the debate about Dak. And I've said this all along. I'd kill somebody if they put me through what the guys go through in a draft when they look at their backgrounds and check everything, every neighbor, every friend they ever had. I'd shoot somebody that had that information on me. But anyway, Dak gets that kind of scrutiny. He gets that when it's there. And we're going to find those guys, and we're going to find it with inspiration over here with the guy to our right. I'm convinced that based upon what I know about the future financially, I'm convinced we can put together a team around Dak. We've got the makings. We've got a great coach that would have left this place, figuratively, maybe left this place had Dak not been sitting here today. But seriously, such a believer in what Dak can do with our team at this key position. And so we've got a great makings of a team here. We do have some viability. We're going to have to be clever and quick to make this thing work as the months go by here, but we can do it.
Of course, I get the question after a statement like that. It does sound like you got a better sense of what the landscape financially is going to be for the NFL. When was that, and did that make it easier and make you more anxious to get a contract to Dak before he hit the open market next year?
I'll answer that for me, and then Dak can answer it there too. The history is there. The history is there. What you need to look at is does the percentages change relative to putting your team together? And so it'd be madness for anybody in the NFL not to look to the future of what financially it's going to look like. And it's not all about that, but it certainly is about that this time of year and a lot of other parts of the year. So financially, I like where we are. We've got something we can do, and we're going to be able to do it. As you all know, if they just opened the books and let everybody spend what they were going to spend, you know who'd be the leader in the pack there. Yeah. So that's not the way it works. But we've got some guys that are circumcising the fly, and so to speak. But the bottom line is we've got it down to the nitty-gritty. We really do. We've down to the nitty-gritty. This isn't some kind of swing for home runs or whatever. We figured this as good as you can figure it as far as how we move on from here over the next months and years ahead.
He's missed you guys. He's missed you guys.
Dak, before we have to answer that question, the question I have for you is you've done a good job over the years not talking too much about this contract. What was the most important thing to you? Because I don't think any of us doubted that you wanted to be a Dallas Cowboy.
Just the trust in the people, my agent and then the Cowboys of getting something fair for both sides done. I've never played this game for money. Money, if you can go to where I'm from and you see where I'm now, money has never been a motivation. Money has never been anything that I wake up for in the mornings. I'm completely, eccentrically motivated and inspired, if you should say that. This just is reassuring faith in everything that I believe in, everything that I want to do for this organization. But just to be honest with you, I let people handle that needed to handle that. There's very little things that I cared for, but they were important. And I trusted my agent with getting those done. And as you see, it was all done. And I'm just thankful, as I said, but to have that behind me, because that's not a reason I play the game. That's not a reason I get up every morning and want to go be better and put in the work with my teammates. That's to win, and that's to chase and to be the best individual, best quarterback that I can be. And I think everybody should have a goal like that, something that you can't put you can't put your hands physically on. So for me, that's important. I told my girlfriend, I told my brothers and family, if one thing about me looks like it's changing, let me know and remind me of where I'm from, because that's just who I am.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Dak, in light of all the COVID restrictions we've been living under the last year, were you able to celebrate this occasion like you want to, or is that going to have to wait?
One more time?
In light of all these restrictions that we've lived under the last year, social distancing, masks and whatnot, were you able to celebrate signing this contract extension the way you might want to?
I mean, just having a lot of people, and most of the people here, and I'll see today that have a direct impact and correlation of why I'm here and where I've gotten to today is enough of a celebration itself. It's just spending time. So, and this is enough, and these are people I've been around, and so under the COVID restrictions, we'll have a good time and celebrate. But as I said, this is more about where we're going. This is more about what this organization, the future, what I believe in, what this team believes in, all those men that get up every day and make a commitment to let this organization win, or to make sure this organization win. That's what this is about. So, I mean, not to pat myself on my back, but this morning, I mean, I'm in there working out with those guys, those rehab guys, and trying to get better, because that's the celebration is, hey, I'm here, I get to work, we get to put in this work to go get what we want, and that's to win. So thank you.
Jerry, you mentioned going to Oxnard and training camp. Are you optimistic that here in however many days that the NFL season will be back to more a normal look, and the draft will be conducted the way they used to be conducted, and training camps will have full rosters, et cetera?
Yes, I am. You asked if I were optimistic, and the answer is yes. But I will remind you that we were able to really have fans, the Cowboys. I'm optimistic that we've got great facilities, that we can do prudent things, masking, distancing, when it calls for it. I have optimism. I don't know, and we all know that I don't know about where we're going to be with COVID and the impact of vaccines. What I will say this, we've gotten better in the National Football League, and we've gotten better with the Cowboys of putting the show on, and putting the show on with safety in mind relative to COVID or something of that nature. We'll do better. We've got better. And again, I have a lot of optimism about taking care of COVID victims. Not just vaccine that keeps them from getting it, but also after they have gotten it. There's a whole world of improvements that are there. Our record in the NFL last year on COVID was nothing short of amazing. When you look at our entire population of the NFL, some 5,000 people, and then you look at our fans, we don't have a case that we're familiar with that did what you're supposed to do, and that's say, we got COVID and we got it while we were at the stadium. We don't have a case. Nobody's got a case like that. So we think our stadium is a good, safe place to be, and we can make it even safer. Having said that, I want to now, as we move forward, I want to show body language. I want to show focus on putting our season now together. And I want our fans to count on us being there for the first games. And I want our preparation, our spring training. I want to see you guys at Oxnard. I want you making those stories, albeit you could do a little better on my shit, my stuff. My stuff. Okay. But the point is, I want to see that. I want to do that. And you say, well, because you want to doesn't make it happen. Well, wait a minute here. We want to get ready and in position to make that happen. I feel very good about saying to you, we're going to play with a full house this year. And we're going to have an exciting season. And one of the most important things is I know what Dak's future has done to me in terms of how it's emboldened and enthused me, and I want to make sure that we can get that same impact with our fans out here. This is a big day, big day. It sets a tone for where we're going over the next many years, many years. This gentleman can be playing 10 years from now and playing at a high, high level. And we're going to put this thing together in a way that allows us to get in the big one and win a big one.
Okay, I'm right.
Dak, you've talked about and demonstrated a preference for a physical style of play, even as a quarterback. And you were injured on a running play. Obviously, your durability has never been questioned until that happened. Given that, watching your team lose without you, all the hundreds of millions being invested in you here today, how do you see those factors affecting the way you've played the game to this point?
Yeah, I've got to be smarter. And before the injury, I mean, going back to high school, I was told to be smarter on when I want to demonstrate my physicality or when I want to try to make a point in the game or change the momentum. So that's no difference. I have to be smarter. With this investment, with my health now being jeopardized at a certain point, it makes a whole lot more sense to me about being smarter and why people have said that. Back in the day as a young bull, I guess it was very hard to understand. Now, I mean, yeah, to play like that, first down, you're going down, you're sliding, right? But to say that game's on the line, it's a first down, or we're at the red zone and I'm going there, that's who I am. And I don't know if I can ever tone that down, and if I do, then you are changing who I am. But there's certain plays or certain times that I'll be a much smarter player, decide when and not to use my physicality during the run, and just take care of myself. And the best ability is durability, and I have to be there for my team.
And Jerry and Steven, beyond the financial obligation the next 4 years that you have control of Dak, I'm just wondering what sense of obligation do you feel as the builders of the team to provide him a team that's capable of the objectives you've stated here today?
Steven.
Yeah, I think, Ed, we've got to.
Listen, I want to listen to this too.
Okay. How you put me on the spot. But
I want to hear how.
No, in all seriousness, I do think we've put a really good offense together, and I think Dak would be the first to tell you that. We've got an offensive line, and Dak just said, the availability, Jerry and I talk about it all the time, is so important when you're looking at a player. And certainly we struggled with that last year, and it resonated with us even more so how important availability is. And, that's the biggest question mark, I think, on our offensive side of the ball is just if we can get our big horses out there from Tyron Smith to Lyle Collins to Zach Martin and on, then we got a great chance to be very special on the offensive side of the ball. I think, as I said, I think Dak would be the first to tell you that. I think defensively, as I said, certainly you can't go into a draft saying we're going to take every player is going to be a defensive player. As I said, you miss out on CeeDee Lamb. But certainly that's a great place to start. And then based on how we negotiated this contract with Dak and Todd, it gives us the opportunity to do some things to continue to improve on the defensive side of the ball, which, as we saw last year, it's real hard to outscore them in this game. I mean, we've got to be better on the defensive side of the ball. I think, special teams. We've got a great coach there, and we've got, I think, really great players that can make a difference in special teams. So, we just got to really go to work. As I said, I think we got one of the best scouting departments in the business in terms of picking players and picking great players. And we've got to do that again this year. And then, we've got to go out and find good value and be efficient in free agency as we try to build that defense.
Dak is one of the best, this is my perspective after you said that. Dak is one of the best at taking it from the classroom to the practice field to the game. It won't be being done the same way 5 years from now for Dak or for us. It'll be done differently 8 years from now. If I've ever seen anybody that has the work ethic, that has the overall feel for what you're trying to do, win the ball game, if I've ever seen anybody that you could work with over a period of time to work with the ebbs and flows of what we're going to be dealing with the makeup of our roster. From that position, that's one of the biggest boxes, might have been one right there at the top that Dak checked. Seeing it, seeing the picture, seeing the overall picture at that time. And so that has to do, as like I said, it has to do with so many things that we discuss and write about every day, from the type of what we're trying to do offensively, what we're trying to do in the running game, the whole show. We all know all of that. But it's another thing to sit down and manage through it. And so that was going in a way, one of the things that was the top of the box. A lot of people, I've got to say this because of a little bit of a debate that went on. The most impactful, I'm not going to say the most, well, I'll get in trouble for saying that, but one of the most impactful people that I've ever been around on winning football games was Michael Irvin. And he was so impactful that people would say, well, but wouldn't it be nice if he had a little more speed? Wouldn't it be nice if he had a little better hands? Now, you may not remember this, but that's actually been said about Michael Irvin. Yet, frankly, if you will really talk to the coaches and the players that he was involved in when he was active otherwise, he was the most impactful guy around there. It is amazing that when you have qualities that also, that they have to be thought of as well in lieu of speed, you have that. That's BS. That has nothing to do. What is a fact as you move down the road, and if you're trying to play football 9 and 10 and 11 and 12 years, there's some adjustments to be made as you move down through there. That's Dak, in my mind. That's what we thought about with Dak. And we didn't have to learn that 12 hours before closing here on this contract either. We've had that for a long time there with it. This is a watershed moment relative to how we are going to put the personnel together as we go forward. And we get to start that right when we leave this podium.
Yeah, Jerry, at the Combine last year, you told us that going forward without Dak would be like going forward without Steven or a family member. I was wondering if you could just maybe share a story or a moment that you remember of when you knew that, like, we can't go forward without Dak. We're going to have to get this contract done.
Yeah, I said that in the sense of we all understand that when we have that family-type relationship, whether it's your father, whether it's your son, what have you, I don't care what hits the fan. One of the options is to be without him. That can't happen. Well, that's my daddy. That's my brother. That's my mama. That's not a thought on the horizon. That was my reply, and how I could have been a little more articulate. There's no thinking about this thing going forward like that. And I said that in that particular sense, in that particular way. From the standpoint, I think he checks those boxes. I think he checks those kind of boxes. Certainly, I don't have to explain that now. I had somebody question that I enjoy honky-tonking a little bit. and somebody said, well, he said, that is kind of a little life of fun that Jerry lives. And one of my greatest friends of all said, now wait just a minute here, said, how long have you been married? 48 years? Well, y'all quit having conversation about any of that other stuff. That says it all. 48 says it all. If and buts, everything says it all. Today says it all. This says it all right here today. Injury, concern about rehab, what Dak isn't or isn't. We all know some of this. Only the guy knows, looking ahead 6, 7 years. This says it all. Now, this is putting it where your words are.
And then for you, Jerry and Stephen, there's a real famous story that you've shared many times about, you and Stephen kind of got physical with each other over the Deion Sanders deal. I was wondering if any time during this, was there ever a type of contentious moment between the two of you where you're like, we have to get this done, let's stop messing around?
Well, Stephen has gotten to where he has some deference in the physical area too, as time has moved along. And so, no, we didn't have any of that shoving up against the wall. But we really knew that this thing was going to get done. We knew that at all times, which was an assumption, that it was totally in our control to get it done. Surely, with my gift of gab, and a checkbook, I could talk him into signing something.
With the ladder.
The ladder, yes, the ladder. So, frankly, there was never any doubt that I can recall, Stephen, that you or I had anything about him not being the quarterback in the future.
No question. There was never a contentious moment. No, we knew we were going to do the deal, and it was just as we all know how important these quarterback deals are. I mean, I think someone mentioned earlier, there's so much unknown out there in the quarterback market right now, and you want to get this right, and we're so convinced that we got this right, and you have to get this right, or it really sets you back. And this is, was going to be one of the biggest. We knew it was going to be the biggest deal ever done in the history of the organization, and we had to get it right. And I'm convinced we did. We did it with the right guy, and I think we're going to be successful.
Sure. Stephen,
I know we're going to be successful.
I'll add this. Sure. I'll add this. This thing doesn't have to be dead center perfect either. Hello, Dak. That's not Dak. It can be off-center a little this year, a little off-center this part of the season. We can not have this going this way, whatever. The main thing is we've got at the most critical position of all a way to get out there and, okay, we don't have this year. We don't have that. We're having trouble slowing them down. We got a guy here that can understand that and adjust the end that he is involved with. That's called a quarterback.
Sure. Dak, we learned back in December, or about the second surgery, I should say, that you had back in December. Can you just speak to what that allowed for you in your rehab process, how important that was to getting to where you need to be come September?
Yeah, I mean, so the second surgery was something that was thought upon that might have to happen when the first surgery happened. Obviously, the first surgery with an open wound, you want to get that and eliminate any risk of infection. So that's all that was for the most part. And then we got weeks or a month or so down the road and said, it'd be best if we went in there and did do that now. So as Jerry or Mr. Jones has said, 10 years, 15 years, I can be playing still, right? And not have to deal with something or something bothering me 8 years or whatever in a short period of time, that we might as well knock it down and get it straight now. While I'm already missing game, I'm already missing time. So that was obviously the thought behind that, and that's what happened. And I was needed. I feel great, as I said. I mean, as I talked about earlier, obviously you saw me walk out here, but the things that I'm doing now, the things I did this morning, stuff I couldn't do 2 days ago. So that's the fun part about it, and that's the eagerness that I have just to get back out there tomorrow and see what I can do tomorrow that I didn't do today.
Looking at your offense, big picture, now that you're signed long-term with this team, when you have CD and Amari and Gallup and Zeke and the tight ends, how can this offense take that next step to be even better than it was the first 5 weeks of last season?
Yeah, we're just going to keep growing. I mean, I think from a personal level, we've got to make sure we've got our culture right, whether it's the offense or whether it's the team, to make sure that those guys that you can trust when everything hits the fan, that when it's fourth quarter and things aren't your way, that you can look to the right, you can look to the left or in front of you and know that those guys have the same belief. They've put in the same committed time and shared effort and thoughts to get to where we want to be. And so that's what it's about creating right now. We've got all the talent. Those guys have the mindset, but it's about creating that culture that we're a brotherhood and that no matter what happens, no matter what circumstance the game or life throws at us, we're going to lock arms, get better, and go get our job done and be the best offense that expectations that this organization or the league has ever had. I mean, as I said, there's expectations that I have that I don't think anyone can match, and I have huge ones for our offense.
And then for Jerry and Steven, we saw the reaction from a lot of Dak's, not only current teammates, but former teammates as well, Randall Cobb, just talking about how excited they were for Dak to have this deal, to have this moment. What's that say in your minds about the leader that he's been over the course of his career and how important that is going forward for this organization?
Well, I'll answer that. I remember at the Senior Bowl, our guys coached the one side and Dak played on the other. And right there, we knew the makeup, and our guys weren't coaching Dak. And the end thing we got out of that Senior Bowl was the best quarterback leader that was at that particular point was there. When he visited, one of the coaches came in and said, "It is amazing," said, when Dak walks down the hall, it's amazing. The coaches and people had come out and want to visit how comfortable everybody feels. Said, boy, he can light it. He lights that up. Now, I say that not to make him be awkward, but he has that type of aura, and but that wouldn't get past the end of the hall if it weren't backed up by everything else you're talking about. Dak played, and not just the Senior Bowl, but played a college career and was about capable of handling physical injury, if you will, as anybody we've ever seen. And I must tell you, we didn't necessarily have that on him or feel like that when we were drafting. But his ability to handle punishment is remarkable. And consequently, every time anybody does something on Dak, they'll probably look in there and say, now, we can get all this calcium buildup taken off, and we can do that because he's been playing with it and never told anybody about it, and get in there and make it go. The main thing about it is that he has shown that those kinds of things are there. I was glad to hear him make the comments that he made about the safety aspect of the thing. Everybody living will want Dak to be judicious in his decision. But when we're out here in a playoff game against Philadelphia, and he takes gets him another 4 or 5 yards rather than skip out, we're going to all be proud he decided to go for it then.
Exactly.
That time. And so good luck in telling him not to go for it at that particular time.
Well, my answer would be that's why I know we got it right. You know, you look at his teammates, you look at people like a Michael Irvin who spent time with him, past great players who had that it factor. They all love and respect Dak. And he's just got an insatiable appetite to be great, to compete, to lead, however you want to put all that in a box. He has that, and that's why Jerry and I are so convinced that we did get this right, and he's only going to get better from here. I think he'd be the first to tell you that, but he's got such an insatiable appetite to want to work and be the best, and he's only going to get better with time, and we look forward to watching it.
Hey, Dak, through the process of rehab and the contract negotiation, what have you learned about yourself?
That's a great question. I don't know if I've truly learned anything about myself that I didn't know, but maybe double down more on the things that I put out there. Oh, I got a nice touch there. The things that I put out there and everything that I put in, I will get it back. So that just, as I says, reassuring my faith in everything that I believe and everything that I've lived my life on. As I said, I wasn't worried about this. I was controlling what I could control. At times it wants to pull from you, it wants to distract you, but I was always trying to pull back to my main focus and what I needed to do and stay in my lane of getting better. And at the end of it, this is what happened. Reassured my faith. I know the future. I know where I'm going to be playing the game that I love most. I know I'm going to be doing it with. I know the partners in that. So all of that is just reassuring of everything that I believe in and stand in a critical time and a blessing time in my life where so many people are going to benefit from that. I mean, generations of family. I mean, there's a lot of little Daks and whatever and cousins out there that are going to benefit from this. But for me, it's about focusing on what I can and just getting better. So there's your answer.
And Jerry and Steven, with Dak back, do you feel you have the best team in the NFC East?
Yes. Absolutely.
Do I need
I answered it. I answered it. It's okay.
Why do you say that?
I mean, as I said, I think this deal, I think this partnership, says it, right? That ensures their faith in me. And as I said, as a guy that lives by faith, is knowing that you have a family, you have an organization that says, we want you at the forefront, go do it. That's everything, because I want to give them everything that they want, everything they invested in. And as I said, if I manifest it, if I put everything in, it'll happen in the back end. I'm just excited to be on the front end of this, and we'll all be celebrating when it pays off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry and/or Steven, you've talked about the need to improve the defense, and we haven't even had a chance to talk to you since you hired Dan Quinn as your defensive coordinator. Why was he the right guy, and do you think he can make a difference on that defense?
Yeah, I actually was thinking, I failed to mention that we've already taken a major step with Dan Quinn. I think he's going to be very special. When we did our diligence, figuring out with Coach McCarthy and Jerry and myself of what he would be like as a defensive coordinator, it was nothing but rave reviews. And his players want to lay it on the line for him. They want to play hard for him. I think we've got a lot of great players on defense, whether it's DeMarcus Lawrence, whether it's Leighton Vander Esch or Jalen Smith, whether it's a Randy Gregory who's up and coming, young guys like Gallimore and Tristan Hill. There's a lot to work with there, and I think he's going to get it out of them. I think he's going to put a system in where they can play hard and fast and confident in what they're doing. And then if we go do our work in the offseason in terms of improving it, I think we're going to check that box. And obviously we got a lot of confidence on the offensive side of the ball, the special teams. And then as Dak said, the most important thing of all is the culture. When those guys walk out there, they got to believe they're going to win the game. And I think that's going to happen.
Quinn, in my view, has some great skins on the wall. And he's got great experience. He is people skilled. When you're around him, you'll see that. He's certainly a dedicated football coach, and he's covered a lot of ground that we got a lot of tape, so to speak, if you were talking about a player. We got a really lot of information to look at to decide how he fits us. He was absolutely perfect for us in this situation to come in here, and he'll be very influential, extraordinarily influential in how we put together personnel and defense. And I think he's got that kind of credibility.
And Dak, how's your recruiting skills in free agency?
I can be pretty good. They just need to let me know who we need to get out there. But I've got so much confidence in this team. In just a second, what they're saying. Coach Quinn, I've met him throughout the building, and just a guy that just jumps off to you with his demeanor and everything that he carries. But what was most prominent, I guess you can say, and fulfilling to me was hearing the guys that he's coached and former teammates of mine, whether it be Keith Smith or other guys, saying, hey, you're going to love this guy. Just that immediate reaction of, obviously, he's instilled so much belief in so many guys that he's coached for, to be on the offensive side and know your counterpart, your defense is going to get that belief instilled in them. And as I said, as a guy that lives his life on faith and belief, that there's nothing more nothing means more than that as a player, is to know that coach believes in you and he's put you out there to go get the job done. So I'm excited to see his leadership and what he does with this defense.
Mike McCarthy is obviously a huge proponent of Dan Quinn. And Mike has really explained, shown me some things about his desire to get some balance for us as we play what he calls balanced football with our offense and defense. And that's another reason why I'm excited about our future. We've got a team put together offensively, and then we can put a team together that will give us that kind of balance. And actually, Mike said he had to hold Moore back a little early just to try to get the offense is out on the field a little longer as before Dak's injury for sure at that particular time. That balance is what I'm looking forward to here, and an area that I think will really improve our lot. And I think it means a lot of pluses, wins for us.
Dak, congratulations.
Thank you.
You represent a lot of things to a lot of people. My question is specifically about the younger generation. A lot of people out there are saying, I want to be there. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I want to be there.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about football.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, thank you. Yeah, thank you for asking that. As I said, faith, right? Belief, passion, finding what you love, and chasing that. I think the question earlier was asked my decision of coming to the training room. And I think Nick Saban says it best if you want to Google or YouTube it. When you want to be great, there is no decision. It's do things this way or not be great. And that was another reason in wanting to go to the facility. So to all young kids out there, whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's to play this game, whether it's to be an owner one day, or whether it's to be a coach or a reporter, whatever it may be, it's out there for you. It's out there for you. The decision has been made. Take the road less traveled. Roger Staubach's saying, right, is take the extra mile and see how lonely it is. But that's the great part about it is you know the back end of it. You're going to get everything that you want because everything you put into it will be reciprocated. So for all young kids out there, whatever it is, believe in yourself, have faith, and don't stop till you're there. And it can happen. You can manifest what you want in this world.
Thank you, Dak.
Thank you.
Dak, if you hadn't gotten hurt last season, what would the Cowboys have done? And now that you're back, what do you believe the Cowboys will do this season?
Yeah, so I mean, we're going to. We obviously won that game I was in. We're going to win the next one. We're going to win the one after that, so forth until we'd be celebrating the Super Bowl here in Dallas. But obviously, that's my plan. Is get a parade in Dallas. I mean, obviously, as a competitor, you watch people celebrate, and you watch people do what you want to do. There's not too many more things that lights a fire under you than somebody having what you want. And every year that we're not in the playoffs or we didn't make that run, that's just more fire to it. And you throw on there that I was holding my leg and didn't even have a chance to be out there while guys were doing what was taken away from me. I'm just excited to get out there and show you what this team is going to do. And the next big press conference we have is hopefully in another year after that big parade. So there you go.
Rich, have we got any other
one more
business? Oh, excuse
me. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, Dak.
Yeah.
Still working through it.
I think
hurry it up here, Dave.
We're almost done. Yeah, sorry. I know you just signed this thing, but looking at the big picture, it's hard not to notice, this deal is structured that you should have a lot more autonomy next time you have to do this. I'm just curious how important that was to you, maybe not just as a person, but also as one of the better young quarterbacks in the league right now.
Your question?
I mean,
you said a lot there.
Sorry. You did this tag game for almost 2 years, and it was, it's something that's been talked about. It doesn't seem like you'll have to do that next time you're available to negotiate a deal.
Yeah, I mean, I think any player that's up to negotiation, they have an obligation to support and represent the rest of the NFL and where this game is going. And I think Mr. Jones just said it. This contract shows where this game is going financially, right? Not just in the quarterback position, but in all the positions. So obviously, years later, when I'm back at it, it'll be in different circumstances. But I think I had a responsibility and obligation to the other quarterbacks and to the other men and even the guys on my team to get this done.
And real quick for Steven, I think I made myself dizzy today trying to think about, how the cap implications and everything with the rollover, and clearly this helps, but I'm just curious, where y'all stand with the league year opening next week, and do you have any more work to do to situate yourself?
Yeah, you always have work to do in terms of how we work with the cap. I've got a great team that helps me with that, and obviously helped with this. Need to recognize them. Adam, Pacifica, and Todd Williams just do a great job. But there's always work to do. But at the end of the day, I think we have the resources, and Jerry certainly gives us those to go out and do what we need to do at the end of the day. At the same time, we know we've got to manage. We got to manage a cap situation for the next 3 or 4 years, and certainly having Dak's situation in place enables you to certainly manage what you need to do over the next 4 years.
We'll finish up, Jerry, with the 70-something-year-old guy that Stephen was referring to earlier. Go ahead, Brad.
Thank you. Jerry or Stephen, do either of you have any information or a feeling about what the league will allow for on-field work this spring, OTAs and minicamps, and Dak, last year's experience having to do everything virtual in the spring, what do you think is the importance of getting the team together on the field, if at all possible, during the spring?
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge to get together and get the team going now. So when you hit training camp, you've already got hay in the barn, as to say. And I think Coach McCarthy and the rest of the coaching staff, I mean, that's huge, right? That's what we missed last year as a young team, as a new coaching staff, and that's vital for us to get together. As you saw, I tried to get receivers last year and do something, and you can say numbers or whatever, that kind of showed that we did good, right? And we put some hay in the barn. So we've got to do that as not only receiver core, but as an offense and as a team. And when we get to compete against each other, iron sharpens iron, and that's the way to make the defense better and our whole team better and ourselves better. So it's a must to me.
Yeah, I'll comment. We, relative to the main restriction, which was a sensitivity toward health, the COVID, the NFL was a huge success. There was very few COVID cases. Very few. Nobody got sick. Some got COVID, but they took their Tylenols and went on. And I'm not, but it was a huge success. And in terms of playing football, in terms of being around each other. We, last year, played football, and everybody did a great job, not taking anything away from anybody. It was a, quote, team effort. Having said that, we are in a more safe time as we look to 21 than we did in 20. We didn't know what to look for in 20. Maybe we don't in 21, but as it looks like now, we work in a safe way. I think that we're going to be very aggressive. Safety is a big word. I've been coached up. Every other word, use safety. But the other thing, though, we're going to be very aggressive. And our game needs a team. We need association with each other. For sure. Our components, our parts of our people, the more we can be together, the better it is. We understand the responsibility we have as an example, what we're doing as an example. But I really do want to be the example. That's why we had approximately 30,000 people at every ball game. I want to be the example of doing business. I want to be the example safely, by the way, and I remind us. So where am I going with this? That's why I deliberately said training camp in Austin. That's why I deliberately said, to be specific with your question, does that mean more of us are going to get out on the field? Does that mean more of us are going to have more interplay? Are we going to have our annual media party? Okay. We're going to have the annual media party. I promise you, we're going to have the annual media party. So seriously, I want to not only, that's the message. I want everybody to feel that way about what we're doing, and to the example, to the instance that we are examples that show that there. And by the way, that's reflected in my mind, because you asked the question, that's reflected at the league level as well. That kind of aggressiveness. Safely.
Thank you very much for coming. We hope to have you all back here real soon, and please drive home safely.
Perfect. See you in Oxnard.
Thank you, guys.
There you go.